Welcome to Wolves of K Street Shorts. We're here with a special guest, Jess Bravin, a longtime former colleague of mine, Wall Street Journal reporter for 20 plus years covering the Supreme Court. Is that right? 20 plus years?
Hmm.
So take us inside this case. Give us a one-on-one on what's going on and why this case is so important.
Sure. Well, there are a bunch of what are called independent agencies in the federal government. These are things like the Federal Trade Commission. They're a multi-member panel, and they are created to be a little bit independent from the president. The members serve fixed terms, and they can only be removed for cause, such as malfeasance, incompetence, not showing up to work, that kind of thing. A lot of conservative theorists and President Trump don't like that structure because it takes some of the power they believe the president should have and gives it to these independent people. Under a theory called the unitary executive, meaning that the executive power of the federal government is embodied in the president and cannot be divided in any way, they have challenged the structure of these agencies. And these agencies, incidentally, have been around a long time. The first one was set up in the 1880s, the Interstate Commerce Commission. And so in a series of cases, the Supreme Court, run by very conservative justices now, has pared back on the legitimacy of independent agencies and has struck down some of them. But it has left intact, until now, the granddaddy of precedents that found this type of structure constitutional. And that is a case called Humphrey's Executor versus United States. And in that case, from 1935, 90 years ago, involved a holdover member of the Federal Trade Commission named William Humphrey that President Hoover had appointed. President Roosevelt wanted people on his team to take those jobs, tried to fire Humphrey. Humphrey refused. Before the case was resolved, Humphrey died, which is why the cases involve somebody called Humphrey's executor, the executor of Humphrey's estate. And in 1935, the Supreme Court upheld the structure of independent agencies, at least ones like the Federal Trade Commission. And ever since then, in fact, before then too, ever since then, Congress has understood that its power includes being able to create these semi-independent agencies. They're not completely independent. The president does appoint the members who are confirmed by the Senate. The president does pick who gets to be chairman. And traditionally, at least a majority of the commission belongs to the president's party. So 3 of the 5 FTC commissioners traditionally would be Republican, 2 would be Democrat. That would be reversed if Joe Biden was still president. So the president does have power over them, but does not have absolute power because he cannot remove the members arbitrarily. But that is the power President Trump wants, and that is what his attorney, or the attorney for the Justice Department, John Sauer, asked for yesterday at the Supreme Court, or should I say Monday.
This week.
This week at the Supreme Court.
And you have followed hundreds, dozens, scores of oral arguments. How did this one go?
This one went exactly as expected. The 6 conservative members of the court were very skeptical of the legitimacy of independent agencies. They simply don't believe that the Constitution allows Congress to assign some government powers to semi-independent officials. They believe that all is embodied in the president. The 3 liberal members of the court were supportive of the precedent. They said that nothing in the Constitution says the president is entitled to remove commissioners at will, and that this structure has underpinned the modern form of the government for more than a century, and it would be very disruptive to throw it out for no apparent reason. So that was how it went. You're looking at what will be almost certainly a 6-3 decision, like many of the other ideologically divided decisions of this Supreme Court.
Yeah. And Jess, when do we expect the ruling to come out?
Well, we don't know for sure. The court doesn't tell us in advance. Typically, all the cases are decided by the end of the term. That's going to be in June of next year, 2026. Maybe this one will go faster because there are some pending issues. Basically, the court has given President Trump permission to remove members of these commissions temporarily while the ultimate decision is still pending. Incidentally, the current the party in this case who Trump fired, Rebecca Slaughter, a member of the Federal Trade Commission, the very same one the late Mr. Humphrey belonged to 90 years ago, She was first appointed by President Trump in his first term to one of the Democratic seats on the FTC. At the time, he accepted that structure where one party gets, the minority party gets a couple seats on the commission. She was reappointed by President Biden, but this year President Trump decided she had to go, fired her. She filed a lawsuit, and lower courts said she had to be reinstated under the precedent of Humphrey's executor, and now the Supreme Court is going to tell us probably that precedent is overruled.
Professor Bravin, thank you for joining us, setting us straight. And for more on Jess Bravin, the top Supreme Court reporter in the United States of America, go to WSJ.com. Jess, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Mr. Top Podcaster in America, Brody Mullins and Luke Mullins. You guys are great.
All right, see you soon.
Appreciate it.